don't know what to say. I feel like I'm a crumble mid.
I don't know which way to sit. My legs don't reach the floor.
It's okay.
If I sit back, I get sit like that.
I haven't shaved my legs. Can we do like a high up shot? Or edit it out?
So how comes you two decided to go through the apprenticeship route, and it's especially through Overbury's foundation program?
When I was at college, I was looking to go to uni and through apprenticeships as well. And I just didn't want to be like stuck at uni for 3 years, because we all know what uni's like. So I started looking at apprenticeships, and because I did the work experience with Overbury, I looked into Overbury first, the foundation program. And whilst I was doing my work experience, the apprenticeships opened for Overbury, so I signed up straight away on the first day. But I also I signed up for other companies as well. But I just knew I wanted to go for Overbury. I went for other interviews and I was like, no, I don't want this. I definitely want the foundation program. It also gives you the chance to move around. That's what really got me into looking at the foundation program with Overbury, that chance to go into different areas within the business.
I feel like I kind of chose Overbury and the foundation program because I applied to probably about 19, 20 different construction firms, and I got a few of them, but the onboarding process was slightly different with Overbury than it was with all of these other companies. And I felt like the foundation program offers such an amazing opportunity for young people like us. You have your first initial 2 years of starting work and doing your apprenticeship, because if you choose to go down the degree route, it's a 5-year degree apprenticeship. So I feel like the first 2 years, whilst you're doing your HNC and your work isn't too busy, isn't too hectic, it's great to have those training days. And what Overbury offers is those soft skills learning days where you can kind of take time out of work to go and learn some presentation skills or kind of how to present yourself at work. And I found it really, really helpful that Overbury have done that, because I've built on my soft skills as well as learning construction knowledge and also doing my HNC at the same time. So I found it really, really helpful. And kind of compared to other apprenticeships and things like that, Overbury offers the 2 years at the start to initially set you up for your future, whereas other apprenticeships kind of don't offer the same thing. I found they kind of just drop you in the deep end and off you go. They don't build you in with a group of people, and your foundation group cohort for the first 2 years is the people that you grow with, the people that you kind of speak to, and you can make friendships and things like that. I know for our year, we've built some awesome friendships and it's been really good. So I just feel like other apprenticeships don't really offer that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's nice when we go to uni, we have our cohort at uni as well. So we know each other and we can just build on our skills at uni as well, and rely on each other at uni. So it's good.
Yeah, it's good to know that you've always got people on the same page as you as well.
Yeah.
So there's other people who are in the same scheme as us, or myself as well, first year, and I can always relate to them. And we've always got these training sessions dotted around the calendar as well, which you can catch up, talk about your experiences. Yeah. So it's been a good process.
And so how have you found your kind of onboarding process and route into the business?
Yeah, so initially I started as a tradesman. So I went on site, I was working on site, and then I progressed into the subcontractor role as an M&E estimator, which sort of ties into what I'm doing at the moment. It was just more the commercial route as opposed to being on site. So I thought I knew a decent amount when I first started in services and being on site, but you don't realise the extent of the depths of what you need to know when you're carrying out a job. So my trade was limited to a specific thing, whereas now my knowledge has increased massively. Yeah. But I also feel like it's different when you come from a commercial route and then seeing the job being delivered in front of yourself. So there's a lot of different guides and just regulations that you need to follow throughout the process. But I also feel like the apprenticeships aren't limited to just one route. So you can come from a sort of trade background or a working environment and then progress into apprenticeship if you want to enhance your learning. Yeah. So for me, the main attraction was there's flexibility, so I can get a qualification behind myself, but also get that on-site experience, which makes me better in my role.
Yeah, and how did you, you said you were an estimator for a subcontractor. How did you get from kind of that stage up to Overbury? How did you kind of apply, find about the role?
Yeah, so I was applying for a few years, to be honest. I applied for the grad scheme, but my degree wasn't entirely relevant. So Chelsea, the early careers manager, she said is join the foundation scheme and get something that is to do with your career, or your career choice. So for me, it would be the building services. So I thought that was good as well. And also, they're not just throwing you in the deep end as well. So initially, Chelsea brought me in and met all the other trainees and different foundationers to speak about their experience, what they've done. So I got to speak with a lot of the different TSMs or training TSMs, but also the directors, and see what route they progressed into the company, how they got in, their routes they've taken. And there's always people there that can support you in your career choice. So initially, it was very welcoming, but also any questions I had, they always answered with as much detail as I could have, basically.
How have you found the training sessions so far?
Yeah, they've been informative. So some aspects of the business, it sort of enlightens your knowledge. So today I had one to do with design. So it gives you a bit of in-depth about design and drawings. And so I'm not familiar with architecture as much as I am with mechanical and electrical. So that gives you a good insight.
Yeah. And how about you?
Yeah, same for me. When we had the day in a life training, I thought that was really interesting because you get to see what everyone's doing day to day. So when you're on site, you only see what you're doing, and you don't really get to know what other roles in the business. So it's nice to go through that, and all the other soft skills like you mentioned that we learn about equality and all that. So it's great.
Yeah, I also think it's great that Overbury offers the kind of management trainee role, or the role that you can move around every couple of months, so you can see what it's like to do those different job roles, and you can kind of test it out and see if you're not 100% set on what you want to do, which I'm pretty sure all three of us are right now. But I feel like they offer such a great opportunity for people that don't know. They know they want to work in construction or kind of management side of it, but they don't know what job role they want to take. And I feel like it's really good that Overbury do that.
Yeah, and I think the best thing about Overbury is even like us, we're set in our roles. But if, let's say one day I said, I would just want to see what it is like to be a quantity surveyor, I feel like they would give me that opportunity to go and spend like 2 weeks with a quantity surveyor to learn their skills and see if I actually enjoy it. I might enjoy it even more. So, yeah. So what have your mentors been like?
So when I first started out, I had a mentor, Dan Standen. He is a quantity surveyor for Southern. He really helped me, kind of took me under his wing sort of thing, taught me the ropes, and kind of I went everywhere with him. Wherever he was, I was following behind him. He when he joined Overbury, he was on his 3rd or 4th year at university. So Dan actually took a different route to kind of the way I've come into the business, but he's had a gap year at uni, and he came for a year of work experience with Overbury, and then he had to go back to uni for 1 year, and Overbury ended up taking him on because of how incredible they thought he worked in that gap year whilst he was with Overbury. And now I work underneath a contracts manager, Scott Jacobs. He's been really helpful. He's been in the business for, I think about 15 to 20 years, a really, really long time, which kind of shows you how much the business cares about their kind of people that work for them. And, you know, I feel like there's a lot of people in my division especially that have been in the business for 15 to 30 years easily. And I feel like when I joined, that was kind of a great thing for me, because it's like, how amazing that people have stayed in the business for that long. It just shows what the business means to them.
Yeah, so with my mentor, funny enough, I worked on the job with him previously, so I sort of knew him from back then, and then now I'm working alongside him, which is obviously good as well. And he's massively clued up in the industry, so he knows exactly when something goes wrong, how to fix it, or what to do in that instance. So in terms of my role, I've developed my skills because of him massively. So he will sit down with me, we'll go through drawings. If I've got any queries, he listens. He doesn't just sort of palm them off. So he's good in that way as well. and he also takes on board any opinions I might have as well. So if we've got any issues that we're facing on the project, he doesn't just dismiss it. So you actually listen and see we could potentially use it, and if we do, we present it forward. Or he might say it wouldn't work because of this, and then elaborate why it doesn't work. So it sort of lets you improve, and he's sort of giving me freedom, but also helping me if I ever do need it as well, which is always good to learn.
Yeah, and have you found the same thing with people within your division working for kind of long periods of time with Overbury?
So my team's worked alongside each other for many projects for a long time. But when I've come in, they've welcomed me with open arms. So they've introduced me to the whole team. They've taken me out to social events. They've introduced me, and if I've got any queries, everyone's open to helping out. So it's not like they're limited to just that one team. They welcome other people on, and just because you're new to the business or in training, they don't downplay you at all. So they still treat you like you're one of theirs, which is always good.
And how about you, Isabela?
I've had 2 mentors since I've started. My current mentor is Tony Hunt. He's been in the business for quite a while now as well. Before Overbury, he worked at another company, so he's been in construction for 35 years, something like that. And he's great. He's given me so much responsibility since I started working with him. He's given me my own little projects to work on, and so I can create programs. He lets me present my programs in front of subcontractors, which is really great. At first, my confidence was really low, because you're just presenting to loads of subcontractors that you don't know, and I'm quite young and they're a lot older than me, so it is hard. But he's given me that confidence to be able to do that, and I know that he will always back me, which is amazing. And that goes for my whole team. I know they're there, and they've all had a long time at Overbury, so their experience is huge. And they work together as well, the team, on various other projects. So everyone knows how everyone works and how they can deliver a great project. And
I feel like as well, it's not just your mentor that you start with. It's kind of the project teams. Everyone supports you. It's not just your mentor and who trains you and who teaches you things. It's the whole team. So I could go up to a project manager and just ask them a question that I don't know. How is this built? How do you do this? And because for my job role, I need to know how things are built. And if I don't know, then how am I going to know, So I feel like it's not just your mentor, it's like your whole team as well backing you, which I found is really great.
Definitely. And not only just the Overbury team, I think the wider team as well, the subcontractors, they're amazing. They have your back as well. They support you. So I feel like I can go to the dry lining subcontractor and ask him a question and he'll give me he won't just look at me oh, well, you should know that. Yeah. He would actually help me and explain it. So that would help me create my programs and everything, and they're great.
Yeah,
I think everyone's very understanding of your position that we're in. So they know we're not experts in the field, but they're willing to sort of guide you through it, which is always good, and it aids your learning. And it also makes you feel more comfortable at work, so you're not constantly panicking, I don't know what I'm doing. So it's definitely good.
Have you guys had any memorable moments whilst the onboarding process, anything that kind of stood out Overbury as a whole?
I guess just moving around different projects, I was so surprised how much responsibility I actually got off the bat, just starting the apprenticeship. And it was great meeting all the team and everyone, and even moving to different projects and with teams that you don't know, everyone's so welcoming. It's really nice.
Yeah, so it's sort of similar for myself as well, to be fair. Seeing different projects, seeing it from start to finish, you don't really pay attention when you walk past the project. You might think, it's sort of, you see it being built, you don't really think much of it, but you don't realise how much actually goes into delivering that project. So it's good to see the on-site sort of process from start. I've not got to the finish yet, but I'm working towards it. What about yourself?
When we started, when I was going through my onboarding process, I found that going to the site that we went to and did that site tour, I think it was EBRD in London, I found that really, really helpful. I could see the differences between the floors, I could see what we did, meet loads of new faces, and especially meeting the Overbury team was it was really a special moment. I felt like you were already involved in the business. They welcomed you in, they gave you a show round. It was really, really good. Yeah.
So what benefits do you think you've had from this whole process of the foundation program?
So my knowledge has increased massively, but also your confidence. So you're sort of involved in more meetings, you meet new people, but networking as well is quite key in the industry. So I found out what different roles do that I might not have known before, and just my overall knowledge of services has increased massively.
What about yourself?
I feel like I have grown as well. My confidence has grown massively since I first started. I'd say one of the main benefits has just been meeting loads of new people and feeling welcomed by everyone, and it's kind of like everyone's a family, you know what I mean? You can walk into a London office and not know anyone, but they'll all be really friendly. You can have a conversation with someone you don't know in the kitchen and they'll still be friendly to you, you know? I feel like that's a massive benefit and a credit to the company.
Yeah, that is good. When I did my work experience at Overbury, I started on a Met job, and luckily I was put on the back on the Met job for my first project on an apprenticeship. And after moving on from that, I went to a completely different team that I didn't know anyone, and I was very nervous, but I got there, and the project manager I was supposed to be working with, he wasn't there. So it was a different project manager that I didn't even know. And it was a huge surprise, but it was great. Everyone was so welcoming, and it was a great team and great project we delivered.
I feel like they have a lot of social events that sort of get everyone together. It's always like, there's always an event at least every month or so where you get to meet everyone in the wider team, which always helps. So you don't feel left out when you go to these sort of events. Everyone sort of talks alongside each other. So I think that's really good as well.
Yeah, definitely. So what was the biggest challenge you feel like you've faced so far?
I feel like a big challenge for me was relocating. I used to live in Essex, kind of the top side of the M25, and it was like quite a big move. Moved from Essex down to Bracknell initially. Kind of started life there by myself. I had just come out of my A-levels, got my results, got the job for Overbury, and then was like, I've got to up and move. But it was probably the best decision I've made. It was
so exciting.
Yeah, it was exciting, but it was hard. Like when you're 18, you don't know what you want to do, you don't know where you want to go. And for me to up and move and kind of relocate and just be, I don't know, just have no one there around you. But then once I started with Overbury, I've got so much support. I've got everyone behind me for everything that I do. I feel like that's been a massive key to me moving. But yeah, that was probably a big challenge for me.
Oh, that's nice.
I think for myself, my biggest challenge would have been just, again, confidence. So whereas you're sort of new into the industry, someone might ask you a question, you don't have to respond all the time. Whereas now I feel like I'm quite confident, or I know where to look if I need to find something out. Whereas initially I wasn't as confident. So someone asked me a question, I might sort of hesitate a bit. But now I feel like I can confidently give an answer back. So I felt like that was my biggest challenge. Again, it's still ongoing though, so that's always going to develop as you progress in your role. So there's always continuous learning going on. What about yourself?
Yeah, confidence as well. Coming straight from college, and I did, because I studied construction at college, I did know a few things, but when you get to like these huge projects and you're just a tiny fish, and just talking to people, not being scared of actually asking the questions, that was a challenge for me. Just being open, like going for it and just asking someone.
Would you recommend the apprenticeship scheme to anyone else?
I definitely would. The skills and that you gain from an apprenticeship and all the networking you have as well. My communication skills and confidence has shot up after this apprenticeship, and I feel like you get the best out of both worlds with an apprenticeship. You get that degree and you get that experience to further your career. It's a great step into your career.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can side with that. I've found that apprenticeship is an amazing route compared to university. You're working and you're learning and you're earning at the same time. You're doing all three things, and it's like, compared to university, for me, I feel like the university route was not the one I wanted to, the direction I wanted to take or the route I wanted to go in. But I feel like an apprenticeship kind of just gives you that so much more flexibility, so many more options kind of when you've kind of taken that route to further your career in the future. And I would definitely recommend an apprenticeship.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend the apprenticeship scheme. You get that flexibility, as you both said. You get to learn, and you also get to apply it to your working environment, which I always think is good. And as you say, the university sort of limits you to just studies, but you don't actually get that on-site working environment experience. And also, it's good for networking. So if you've got any questions, you can ask people, develop your studies into reality.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you have an idea of what career you want to go into, it's always best to just get that experience and you just start with the experience in your career instead of just 3-4 years at uni. You get to have that experience at the same time, which is amazing.
Yeah, and I feel like most companies now, they take apprentices on so young. I mean, I was 18 when I joined Overbury, and I feel like you get that opportunity at such a young age. So by the time I finish my degree, I'll be 23, 24, which is still really young to maybe if I get to that age and be like, oh, maybe I don't want to do this, or maybe I can look in a different job role. And I feel like if I got to that point, I've got my degree, Overbury would say, okay, let's see what the routes are. Let's show you the options. And I feel like it's just really, really good.
Compared to being just 4 years at uni
Yeah, exactly.
and not having that.
Yeah,
It's great.